Hey, welcome to X31 Topic 3 Pundits. I'm your host, John C. Dvorak. I'm here with Andrew Eisner and Joe Engo. And it looks like hacking's in the news. You guys want to shoot a picture of Andrew Eisner and Joe Engo? There they are. Hacking's in the news again. Of course, this is like a big theme now. Everybody's, hacking is a big deal. But the big thing that I thought was kind of interesting is it looks like the FBI has gone out and at least busted a half dozen, maybe a dozen, and they look
like 14 people arrested.
They're after 35 more that are part of this anonymous group.
So much. And they're still sitting there taunting them. They're still saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter how much of us you arrest, we're still going out there." And
but it's also.
I don't understand the reason for the taunting.
Well, it's so
because they're kids. Most of them are like 16, 17.
They're actually not. It turns out the ones that are arrested are in the 20s and a couple of them in the 30s
There's a couple.
Well, the older ones probably didn't have a clue about how to stay under the radar.
I know. It's, as I say, so much for anonymity.
Could you get away with it? Do you think that you could become one of these guys, an anonymous hacker, somewhere lurking with proxies and Tor networks and just staying in the background and sending poison pen letters in every time you feel?
It's not about hiding. That part is easy. The problem is they have too big of an ego. They've got to tell everybody what they've done.
Caught? Joe, how do you think they got caught? How do you think they got caught?
Because the one guy in Europe, he got arrested.
Oh,
and
he ratted on him.
Are you kidding me? That's exactly what happened.
Oh, okay.
That's why the FBI says 25%.
So there is, you are able to be anonymous online if you want. Even from the FBI.
If you're really good, you can.
So the FBI cannot catch you if you really want to.
They can. If they really have to. I mean, there's all these different.
Well, if they pull, I would assume that if the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, Interpol, and everybody all of a sudden said, we got to get this guy, he's been taunting us, and everybody put all their resources and tried to track you down, you think they could find you if you actually knew what you were doing?
If you didn't have the ego, then it would make it very, very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. Well, actually, it could be impossible. But the problem is they have that ego. They've got to tell everybody what they've done.
What do you think these guys were using? Tor?
Probably a combination of Tor, hacked Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Probably a lot of different things. But the problem is that they still have that.
Isn't hacked Wi-Fi the way to go? You drive around, you find somebody else's network, you go on it.
Sure.
With a phony MAC address, and then you just stay on there, and then you drive off, and you go to another town, you leave the state.
Yeah. Well, it depends because the MAC address a lot of times is recorded in the DHCP logs. And if you paid for that machine with a credit card, they can track you down that way.
What about spoofing the MAC address?
You can spoof the MAC address, sure, of course.
Okay, so you want to spoof them, not that we're trying to...
I'm not giving instructions here or anything
like
that.
No, but people need to know that it's not that easy.
But go ahead.
So you want to spoof the MAC address, or just zero it out or some way, so when it hits the Wi-Fi thing, it doesn't have the license plate to the computer.
Sure.
Essentially.
No.
And of course, they're using Tor. They used Amazon Cloud. They had stolen credit card numbers that they used. And that's how they try to stay as anonymous as they can.
Until they get
but it
ratted
comes
out.
down to the human element.
The FBI did what they do best.
Exactly.
Well,
the FBI says 25% of hackers that are caught become informants.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of times they just have these people just lurking in these chat rooms waiting to see. And eventually these people, they have patterns. Like one guy kept responding A to everything. I mean, it was probably in Europe. The guy who was running the LulzSec Twitter account, he kept saying good night and good morning, and people just figured out exactly what time zone he was in. He was in New York.
Oh. Well, that's dumb.
Exactly. I mean, it comes down to the ego. That's the problem. That's how they get caught.
So, which brings us to the story of Microsoft. Well, I'm going to skip to this one, which is apparently Microsoft has decided to put out a bounty for $250,000. I wrote a column in PC Magazine about this. You should check it out. $250,000 to find who's behind Rostock.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. I mean, but that's the only way they're going to eventually try to track these people down. $250,000? Trust me, if you knew somebody who was doing it, $250,000, you'd rat them out in a second, wouldn't you?
You probably, but I think
you would.
But
everybody has their price. Everybody has their price.
This proves to me, of course, that if they don't catch the guy, then it's an intelligence agency where the guys don't have an ego and they're not worried.
They'll catch them. They'll catch them, guaranteed. Anybody who's doing these things, it's all about the ego.
Yeah. What is Microsoft what do they find so evil about Rostock?
Apparently, Rostock did a lot of. I think there was a
lot of spamming.
There was a lottery. The Microsoft they claimed to be a big lottery. Microsoft that you won the Microsoft lottery because you're the and Microsoft kept getting these you said I won, you bastards! You didn't give me my $1 million.
I'm never buying another Microsoft product again.
Well, it's
Switch
definitely
and
not
gavel
that.
right now.
I mean, it's definitely not that. I mean, there's
Yeah.
these big sites that are being taken down by DOS attacks
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. So, there's pressure from government agencies to
Yeah.
shut down these networks.
Sure. And Microsoft took out some spammers recently too. Remember, they sort of took it upon themselves
yeah, no,
to
Yeah, but you know what?
actually.
It's gone right back up.
Well,
I mean, you
yeah.
knocked
You
down
can't
one, it
stalk
comes right
these
back
guys.
up.
That's
Yeah.
that's the other thing about Anonymous is they're sort of right. I mean, look at for the guys that caught their guys. I mean, hacking is so easy these days. I mean, they even said that they hacked into Murdoch's emails now, and they're going to release a lot of emails.
I bet you those emails are boring. So anyway, well, we'll see where this heads. But yeah, the Murdoch thing is interesting. You've been watching X3.